28. This is not an English class, this is a sign language class. Oh my god, I am really for this class. Sorry guys, I'm really not prepared. See you in the next class.
Most of us communicate by speaking the different languages that exist. We know English and we can communicate with this common language, but not everyone can communicate like this. Neither in English nor in Spanish, they need their own language, their own method. For example, there are children who are deaf-mute who communicate by signing. They use sign language. Many people think that sign language is universal, and this is a big mistake, since it is a language like any other language. Every country has its own. The aim of this project is for children to learn about the different forms of communication, that they learn to include in their plans the option of studying a new language and a new way of communication, such as sign language or the braille system, even though we are not going to deal with this in this project. It is a way of empathizing with children with these communication difficulties, and that they know how to deal with them. Throughout this project, the standards, criteria, and contents of the subject of free autonomous configuration of Spanish Sign Language will be dealt with, although it must be taken into account that although the content, standards, and criteria will be taken from this subject, all the activities will be carried out with American Sign Language, as the activities will be carried out in English. In addition to this subject, some blocks of the core subject of Spanish language and literature will be taken into account. It should be noted that everything will be drawn from the primary 6 blocks. From this subject, we will use block 2, from we will obtain some contents, some evaluation criteria, and someone's made a TikTok to explain it. From this subject, we will use block 3, writing, and another TikTok. The competencies to be covered will be digital competence, learning to learn, and linguistic communication. This project is called The Unknown World, as sign language is something totally unknown, as it is a language that not many people think about studying. The first thing to mention about this project is that it is aimed at the 6th grade of primary school. It will be carried out in class at all times and it will last for 15 days. For this project, we will make use of several applications to carry it out. These will be Genially, Google Docs, Bigstone, HandTalk, Te Cuento, and finally, Padlet. Before starting with the project, I will explain how each application works. They will work for 1 hour a day during the 5 days of class for 3 weeks. They will be able to make progress at home, but this will be completely voluntary, as the project is set up to be carried out in class. In addition, this project will be carried out in groups of 5, except for the first session, which will be introductory and will serve as an introduction to the tasks, which will be carried out by the whole class. On the day these tasks begin, the students will be their own leaders. I will only observe them to check how the project is going in case they need help, as I will help them with whatever they need. Talking about the groups, they will have total freedom to decide who to be with. Although, as a teacher, I will take into account who makes up each group. They will be the ones who will have to organize the tasks. it won't matter how long it takes to complete each activity individually, so that everyone can go at their own pace. But what they have to be clear about is that on the 16th, everything must be presented in a Padlet. For the development of the project, I wanted to base myself to a certain extent on the principles of Maria Montessori. As she said, children have to learn self-education and self-development, providing them with all the necessary resources to do so. She believes that with demands and obligations, children don't have a natural development. She attached great importance to direct observation. The first thing to be done will be an introductory lesson on sign language. In it, I will be in charge of projecting a presentation with the Geniali tool of an ASL alphabet, and every time I click on it, a video will appear where they will see how to sign that letter. The aim of this first activity is that they learn to sign their names, and I will explain that people who communicate in this way, when they introduce themselves, they do it with a sign to introduce themselves more quickly. After finishing this activity, there will be a series of activities with a common thread. It will be to write a short dialogue to make a comic. They will have to develop it with the Google Docs tool and translate it as a comic in the application called Pixton. Once they have created the comic, they will use HandTalk app to translate the comic speech bubbles so that they can reproduce them in sign language. After they have completed this task, each member of the group will have to record themselves signing each vignette, which they will do in the Te Cuento app. To finish the project, they will have to upload the comic, the dialogue, and the recording to a Padlet that I will create. With this project, I would like to highlight an ethical problem that is probably obvious, as this issue is not often raised in project work. These activities are not very well known, especially Te Cuento and HandTalk. And if you are not interested in this topic, you are not going to investigate them. That is why there is a problem of unfamiliarity with these resources. This is why they need more help. Talking about the added values, we can say that these tools help children to become more familiar with this form of communication, especially with HandTalk app, as they are learning by playing. In addition, with the Pixton platform, they have to assign a scenario and characters, which is not the main objective, and also with these apps, they are allowed to work at the same time, except for the Te Cuento app, so they will learn to work as a team through internet. The changes I would make would be that the activity would be conducted via Google Meet. From home, I would change the methodology a bit, as there wouldn't be so much direct assessment, so I would have to control everything a bit more, whether it's the session or seeing how they are working day by day. This project, as I said before, doesn't have a single theoretical objective as such, but it will be the relationship between the previous knowledge they have with the knowledge they are acquiring of ASL. Therefore, they will be evaluated with direct observation on a day-to-day basis, based on the rubric I've created in accordance with the project itself. The link of the rubric is on the transcription. For the theoretical concepts, I've chosen TPAC and ACAT, and as you can see, here is the definition that I've created for TPAC. This model is very useful, especially to organize ourselves to teach. For example, when in an ICT lesson, we want our students to learn what a hardware is, where it is found, and how it works. And this is the other definition that I've created for ACAT. We can put this model into practice in our daily life. For example, when we have a difficult situation or a problem, we probably cannot control it itself entirely, but we can control it part by part and step by step. For the technological concepts, I've chosen the poster and Jemima. What is a poster? And what can we use a poster for? Well, for instance, a project about the food pyramid. With the poster idea, we can design it like on one side we would put the pyramid to explain it in a visual way, and on the other side the characteristics of each step. And what is a mind map? And what can we use a mind map for? We can use it when, for example, we want to synthesize a history section and see in a visual way all the events and where each one comes from. During this course, I have acquired a lot of new knowledge that I want to continue using in my future, although I would like to highlight the following 5. I found them to be a very interesting way of distributing the work in a group, as well as learning to empathize with colleagues, as these roles rotate and we know the work that some of them entail. On the other hand, among many other applications I've learned, Audacity and FreePic are worth mentioning. One has taken me out of my comfort zone and introduced me to the audiovisual world, and FreePic has undoubtedly been my licensing salvation. Also, I'd like to highlight the way of teaching itself, because it is a fact that students learn better by doing and not having to memorize. That is something that we want from a very young age. This course has made me realize that this wish can come true. In addition to this, in the future, I'd like to offer my students the freedom to express themselves creatively in an academic work. It is a great satisfaction to do things without boundaries. And last but not the least, it is a nice way, in my opinion, to collect everything that has been done little by little. And it has certainly become a project that I want to create throughout my career. During this course, I've been working hard week after week. Without a doubt, what gives me most satisfaction is that I have seen my evolution from the first day until today. Every week together with my group, I have given my best even if I didn't get the results I had hoped for. That's why I think I deserve an 8. During this course, the most important role I've had has been as an analyst. Because with this role, I had a lot of responsibility. I had to evaluate my colleagues, knowing that the mark I gave them was going to influence their final result. And finally, the role that challenged me the most was my week as a journalist. With this role, I had to be very attentive to all my colleagues, to see what each one of us was doing. And then the challenge wasn't only that, but I also had to try to tell all the information in the most original and different way possible.
Well guys, I have to say that I was delighted with the results of the project. I hope you enjoyed creating everything and that you learned about this form of communication, about this unknown world.
Bye, and thanks.